Hey everybody, welcome to etrailer.com. I'm Bobby, and today we're taking a look at the pewag all-square snow tire chains here on our 2020 Jeep Gladiator. So this is going to be a pretty decent way, guys, of giving you guys that traction control that we're looking for in that snow and ice. And what I like about these all-square chains, they are quite large. So they are going to be fairly aggressive without kind of broadening into that V-bar or strut style that can really start doing some damage to your pavement and garage. Now, I will say, with this being so large, I would be a little hesitant to really drive this around my garage just because of how large they are. We do have a 7mm thickness here on our chain and about a 1-inch width for those chains themselves. So quite large, but that becomes excellent for us actually in those hazardous conditions, making sure that we're plowing through and churning through that snow and that ice with no problem. So we also are gonna have a ladder style chain on here. Now, I will say almost all the chains I've thrown here on the Gladiator have been a ladder style, and that's because it is just somewhat of a larger tire. And what that's given us is an excellent start and stop maneuver and capability because we have our hills and our valleys that we're gonna be kind of working with. Now, to that end though, you can lose a little bit on your turning radius. And why I say that is because if we go to make our left or our rights, we're gonna have to accelerate just a little bit to actually get over these hills. And of course, that can just lose you just a little bit on your turning radius, but not gonna be the end of the world. We also are gonna have a very nice quality nickel manganese alloy on here, making sure it's resistant to any kind of corrosion thrown our way. And we all know how many agents and chemical agents are on the road these days. So that salt, all those chemical agents can be on there, gonna be resistant to it. To that end though, highly suggest actually spritzing this off. That way it's not sitting on there for a long, lengthy time. And if you guys are storing this for a long-term storage, that way it's ready for the next season to come. It could be very helpful to get a small little tote and actually getting some oil and grease on these guys. That way they're ready the next time that we actually need them. Well, today we also have this guy, and it doesn't actually have cams. As I'm going to kind of mention in the installation, those cams can make it just a little bit easier to actually get on here, and I think that's the one thing that this guy's missing. Now, overall, I still think it's a great fit here. It's not really going to be necessary, but if you just want one more addition, that's something I might look at. Again, I really do like these guys. I like the thickness of the chains. They seem like they're going to do a great job. Now, as I mentioned before, this isn't going to be as aggressive as your V-bar strut supports or those studded links. Now, those can be excellent for the people out there that are looking for more off-road capabilities. I think this is going to be a great on-road application because it's not really having that just little bit of extra grit and bite to get through those more hazardous conditions. Again, though, these are quite aggressive chains, which are going to do a great job for your more heavy-duty applications on road surfaces. Well, one thing that's great about these, not going to take us too much time to actually get installed. We are going to have to find ourselves on the ground as well. Highly suggest grabbing yourself your guys' floor mats out of your vehicle, setting those down, keeping you out of the slop, which can be great. Now, we do have a few caveats to get to before we actually put these on or show you how to put these on. We are working today on 255. 70 R18 tires, so that is going to be our tire size here today. Let's make sure we're putting our own tire size into the fit guide here at etrailer.com. That way you get the right fit for your vehicle at home. And secondly, we have this here on our front wheel. That's because we are going to have a 4-wheel drive system here today, allowing us, of course, to utilize all our wheels and move us there. To that end though, where do you put it here, right? Well, we have it here on the front because a lot of people like it, especially for on-road purposes. As they come to a stop, the momentum of your vehicle is going to carry forward. So that's going to put a lot of that weight there on that front set of tires, and this way it allows us to have that traction control whether we're starting or stopping. Now, if you do find yourself putting a lot of gear in the back of your Gladiator, that can be a great way of actually gaining weight, and then you're kind of sinking those back tires in, and they can do a great job of actually getting you traction. Now, there are a few state laws out there that can be a little finicky, so let's make sure we're checking with all our local state guidelines to make sure we're staying nice, safe, and legal. Now, not going to take me too much time to actually get this installed. Why don't we go ahead and see how we can do that? To begin our installation, what we want to do, just lay out our chains just like so. What we're looking for here, any kind of kinks or binds our chains might have got while in storage. Now, it's going to be pretty easy to walk them out. A lot of times, you feel like you're stuck, just reverse the chain or flip it under. A lot of times, the answer's right there. It's just a little hard to see with these chains. So, really, really easy though. Usually just going to walk it out. But the big things we're looking for here is making sure that we actually have our hard points of contact pointed up towards the sky. Now, why that is, we're actually going to be setting this on top of our wheel, and we don't want these hard points of contact making contact with our tire, which could end up, damaging them, puncturing them, and we definitely don't want that. The other thing to take note of here, we do have our just little lamp or cam lever here on the side. Make sure that's on the outside because we need it to make our last little connection here on our wheel. But now let's go ahead, bring ourselves to the center of our chain. And what I like to do is just kind of put my arms in, bring my elbows around, and kind of wing it out. And why I do that makes it a little easier to avoid any kind of contact with my front rim. And then I can just lay my chain on my wheel and then start making sure that it's uniform. I'm also making sure that my chains are perpendicular to my side chains. What I mean by that, well, this guy goes straight across. It doesn't have a little curve to it, and just kind of repeating that process all the way around. And what I like to do as well, take these little bottom chains, make sure my connection points are pretty even. That's going to make it a lot easier to actually make our connections. Well, now that that all looks pretty good to me, we need to bring ourselves on the inside of our vehicle, or I'm sorry, of our wheel, to make our first connection. So we have our extra chainage here, and we have a hook on the very other end. I'm simply going to go to the third chain here, leaving 2 extras today. And as you can see it sitting here on the chain, that looks pretty good to me. I'm on the sidewall of my tire, but not in too close towards my rim, which is great. Now, for now, we're going to leave it right here because we don't want to make any kind of customization until we've confirmed the fit of our chain. But later on, we probably are going to need to remove these guys just because we definitely don't want it interacting with anything on our inner assembly here, and it can just kind of cause a ruckus. Now, we may have to actually change this position of the chain, but for now, we're going to try it and make our front connection. Just be aware, it might take just a little trial and error. Now that our back connection is made, we can make our front connection. Taking a look here, looks like going to the second position here on my chain is going to be great. I can try to slot that down all the way to the end of my cam lever here. And trying to get that past that curve is going to be helpful as well. And now I can just kind of push this back. It can be helpful to get your weight behind where you want this to go. So I might kind of block you guys a little bit here, but we simply want to press that down, bring our other thumb in with that chain. Be careful of your extra fingers, of course, and just like that, we're nice and secure. Taking a look here, that is a very nice fit here on our Gladiator and our wheel today. Really like how that's working. Taking all that slack and play out. In my mind, we really wouldn't need a rubber tensioner from this position. I love how these guys are in place. Now, what I might suggest to you guys as well at this point, if you really like how this works and you're not too happy with just that one little connection and you see just a little bit of movement here, now of course we could grab those rubber tensioners, but they are one more thing to lose, but it is going to give us that traction control that we're looking for. That way we can get to our destination safely. Otherwise, I think that about does it for our look here today at the pewag all-square snow tire chains on our 2020 Jeep Gladiator. I'm Bobby. Thank you for watching.